co-chair of the Athens City Commission on Disabilities Accessibility Committee. And we are meeting today on February 11th, getting started at 12:05 p.m. I have Rob Delac, Diane Bouvier, and Noah Tremblay here with us today. So I think the first order of business is to go through and I think I just got an email from Tiffany that she's has to miss today's meeting. So, okay, that's all right. So the first order of business is just to go through the minutes in December and January and approve those minutes. And I didn't see any issues. Okay, I hear Noah as to make that motion, and Diane seconds. So anyone opposed? All right. And then we can go ahead and move into our agenda. We don't have a ton on our agenda for today, but we do have some things to talk through. The first thing I have on the agenda is the C-Click Fix announcement. And I saw it come out, and I think Rob and Diane and maybe a couple other people were sent out some emails about it. So what do people know about the C-Click Fix app?
Well, it's a platform that the city has adopted. So like the old system, they had an app that was a company that made it, and they allowed cities to buy into it. So it was a platform that worked for whatever city you adapted it to. And this is the same kind of thing, although if you go to the C-Click Fix, I always get that backwards. If you go to cclickfix.com, you can get to the Athens information, but it's a little clunky to get there. It's hard to find it. You have to have an account or create an account. And even then, if you create an account, it doesn't seem to recognize that you're connected to the Athens location. You have to tell it that every time. But you can get to it through their website. You can also use the app. And if you install the app that the city provides, it's a customized app. So that makes it easiest probably to do it. The other item is that on the city's website, there is a page that's called Concern, where you can post concerns to the city it's like they basically took a widget from C-Click Fix and embedded it on the city's webpage. So there's 3 ways you can get to it right there. And either I think the city's concern page is just about posting them, but on the C-Click Fix and in the app, you can also see other people's concerns they posted or requests they posted. The one more thing to mention is you can sign up for email notices too. And I did that quite a while ago. And so I get an email anytime there's a new, it's a little too much maybe, anytime there's a new request in the city or a comment or update on the status. So I often get a handful of emails a day, I'd say, at this point, but I get visibility on sort of everything that is going on that way. I think you can set that up so it only would show you emails or send you an email if there's a particular item of interest to you, like a keyword, accessibility maybe. If you wanted to get emails anytime somebody posted something about accessibility, you could potentially do that. But you can also browse for those things.
Okay, yeah, and
that's good.
Looking through C-Click Fix right now, and I see a lot of snow issues. I see someone has 7 chickens running loose on the property.
On the Far East Side, right? I think that was the Far East Side.
Yeah. What were you saying, Scott?
No, that was good. I'm going to give Rob a job. He did great on that. Yeah, I mean, it's very much like our old app that we had. It's a little bit more refined. The one thing that's nice about this one is if you we'll just use the snow and ice, if you report a icy sidewalk or go to report an icy sidewalk and it knows your GPS location and somebody's already reported within 15 feet or 20 feet of that location or the next property, house property, then it'll let you know that that's already been sent. So it won't put multiple and pile up the same complaint to the code officer, whoever. So
Nice. But then you could comment on the existing post if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And then I'm guessing that these get cleared after they've been solved.
Yeah, and it depends on which department is doing it, and snow and ice is a little bit difficult as far as some of the timeliness, because we've had ice now for seems like 3 weeks in places, but they are aware of it and they'll go back through and clear those out, or whatever the issue is once they've been taken care of. And as long as the initial complaint or concern is open, then you can go back in and comment and provide more insight or whatever, that sort of thing.
Okay, great. Yeah. And with snow and ice, of course, it's the business, like the property owners are supposed to clear the snow and ice that they have.
Correct.
Okay. So then if it's reported to the city, then the city would go and like call that person or knock on their door? Or...
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thanks for jumping on here, Scott.
Yeah, no problem.
That's great. So I have a question. So if somebody wanted to download the app, is the best way, can you download it from either the city or the C-Click Fix place?
The best way is to go to your App Store, your Google Play account, and just type Athens, Ohio City Source.
Okay.
And it'll come right in. Mm-hmm.
On Apple too.
Yeah.
Oh, did you say City Source or did you say C-Click Fix?
No, if you type in Athens, Ohio City Source, that's the direct link to our branded version of the app.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
There is a C-Click Fix app, but again, it's a little clunky to get to the Athens stuff. Athens has customized it so you can get there easy. You're already there when you install the app. So.
Right.
So we should be referring people to the Athens, Ohio City Source.
100%. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. I would like to maybe just, it's not something that I'm going to use right now because I'm not like going out and about uptown currently.
Yeah, neither are the rest of us.
Yeah. But it is something where we could maybe do a public service announcement on our Facebook page. Let's add that to our list of things to do for the day, which is just to get in touch with communications and to, put out some sort of statement saying like a link to the article. Has there been an article that's come out about?
Yeah, the Messenger did a thing the other day with us, probably last Thursday or Friday, maybe it came out. So I mean that's been out in the press in addition to what we've released. From an accessibility standpoint, I think it's a great tool because it's stuff that people might run into from that standpoint that may not be obvious at times, and a picture and a notification could go a long way to getting that resolved. So,
okay.
Yes, and there is an ADA accessibility category again, like there was previously with the old system.
Oh, great.
Great. Yeah, we can even tell people about that specific feature. And I know oftentimes when there's snow and ice that's accumulated, often, snow plows will kind of like plow the street. But as they plow the street, it piles up on the curb cuts.
Mm-hmm.
That's a place that people can get that reported and hopefully get it cleared up quickly.
Right. That's great.
yeah, just let me know if you have any more questions on anything like that.
Thank you, Scott. Thanks for jumping on.
Yep, you're welcome.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, great. Is there anything else that I think there's been some talk about potentially doing another, walk-in, what do we call it?
Walk and roll, yeah.
A walk and roll, right.
Walk
and
it could
slide.
be focused on showing people how to use this app to report accessibility concerns. If we wanted to do that, we have to wait a little while probably before that's feasible, but I'd be happy to do that again. and probably would do something similar like I did before, where I wrote up like a one pager on sort of steps to do it. Although this is easier to use than the old app was.
Okay.
And it seems like it's more accessible in that it's a better interface, easier to use, fewer clicks. And you know, I'm not sure, you guys could probably comment on that once you try it out and see how accessible you think the app is and or the website, but I think it's better than it was at least. So.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering in terms of like, because whenever we've done a virtual walk and roll in the past, you've taken your phone and we've seen what's on the video on your phone on, I think, Zoom maybe. Yeah, it's just the same thing we're using now. But if you're like minimizing that app and opening C-Click Fix to report issues, would we be able to see that?
Probably if we were to try and do a virtual walk and roll, I need to have a second device, which I do have a phone, my old phone that still functions. I could install the app on there and use it connected to Wi-Fi.
Yeah, and you could.
That might not work. I was using that to take pictures before. You don't need Wi-Fi for that. So probably would have that limitation. I'd have to have a Wi-Fi connection or something to be able to do that.
Okay. Yeah, that's something we could work out. And one of the ideas that we had as well was to do maybe like a speaker kind of thing, like a speaker to open it. I think Noah was maybe interested in doing that, and also one to like it's kind of like just like a quick kind of thing about the ADA, about accessibility. And maybe partnering with some other organizations to raise awareness, to that end, you know, maybe live stream it on Facebook. Like, I know this is already live streamed on Facebook through the city site, but if we can make it so that it's live streamed on other Facebook pages as well, I think we could get some more publicity and kind of highlight some of the accessibility issues. Does that make sense what I'm saying, Diane and Rob and Noah?
Yeah, after the weather's nice, right? You're thinking?
Yeah. We can think of like, you know,
we could do a walk and slide. A slip and slide. We could do a slip and slide.
Court Street would be a nice sledding hill if there weren't any cars. Yeah, does that make sense, Noah? Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, and it would be nice to do that in collaboration with some other agencies, some other advocacy groups. Yeah, I think like as the virus times drag on, it's good just to think of how we can still be effective and also bring other people in, not just be effective within our group, but be effective in a broader sense too. Mm-hmm. Should we set like a tentative date for that, do you think?
Sure. How about like April or May, are you thinking?
Yeah, I think April sounds great to me. And this will give us time to do some logistics with Scott. We could use our April 8th at noon. We could use our meeting time for this. That would work well for me.
Okay.
April 8th, do like a noon to... Yeah, we can even keep it short. We don't need to do like a big, long hour and a half.
Right.
Everything. We could just go through and point out some like obvious things. Maybe just keep it to an hour.
So we'll just have to plan where we want to do it and who would be the speaker and what other agencies we'd want to collaborate with. Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. So if Noah was one of the speakers, who would be another speaker who knows about ADA and accessibility? Not looking directly at you, Diane, but
I could talk about something. Noah, we can partner. Figure this out.
that sounds good to me. It might be good just to reach out and see if we have some other, maybe from like a partnering organization that may be interested as well. Maybe that person would be off the top of my head.
Like an organization that would work in accessibility or that would appreciate accessibility for the people.
Something like some sort of organization that deals with accessibility, that is somehow like, someone within the city who maybe is working on accessibility.
We could invite like Jessica.
That could work.
So the city gets involved in doing it too. We could do that.
Okay. So yeah, and I think, we can involve Jessica. We could ask someone maybe from the Athens County Board to be involved, like a staff person there. We could,
we'll have a hard time getting a lot of people if we have an hour.
right.
Having a lot of people present. I would actually like this, like one of the things I was thinking is that it's really nice for the city to get credit when they actually do make changes that are accessible. So even talking, so that people, citizens know that that's a priority. And yeah. So it like even about the sidewalk grinding and about, the kinds of like when they do new landscaping, like city streetscaping, that they're including accessibility in their review. I think that would be good for people just to know about.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe they could kind of go through and highlight like some of the things that they have done like uptown or on the East State Street corridor. And then, talk about some upcoming projects that they're going to do even better.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I think those are some good options. But yeah, we would like to get, a lot of people watching this.
Right. So we should ask the communications team to help us out with that too.
Yeah. That sounds great.
So Noah, do you want me to contact Jessica and the three of us can talk about what we might try to present in a short time span?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'll do that. And I'll set up a time for the three of us.
Yeah. And I would suggest like a 5-minute opening and then like maybe even like a 5 or 10 minute opening and then a 5-minute closing. And then we could, with Rob, we could do like our 45 minutes, just up the street, report like a few issues, and then come back and talk about like the work that we still have to do.
Okay. David, did you have anyone in mind from the county board?
Not like off the top of my head, but I could get in touch with like Ariane and see if she does a lot of like and she's our city council rep for the commission as well. And she may have some ideas.
Okay. We will do that.
Have
Great.
we talked about the fact that she is not running for re-election? And so we're going to have to work on replacing her on council. But
yeah.
getting somebody from council that has some experience or knowledge would be helpful, right?
Yeah, it's been nice to have some It's been really nice to have some synergies there and have Ariane on the commission. But yeah, I think whoever that assigned council member is, we'd want someone who cares about accessibility, and not that not everyone would, but we would want someone who has some background and knowledge and some skills in the area.
It might be.
Maybe Noah.
Maybe Noah.
Your signatures, Noah? Did you already have to do that? You're running as an independent? Okay.
That's May 3rd, I think is the deadline for signatures then, so.
Okay. Seats.
So it sounds like we should have the communication team call it the Athens City Source. Like not Athens, Ohio City Source as a title, as opposed
Yeah, I
to
think
the
so.
And that, since we're all mixing up see click fix and click see fix and all that anyway, it's probably better.
We're going to stop using that, yeah.
Yeah. The city source is easier to say.
True.
It is. I like see click fix because you have to see it, then you click it, then you fix it. Yeah.
Yeah, and on the city's page, they said there's like 3 steps. It's see, and then snap, and then something. They changed the words a little bit to make it their own. But yeah.
Classic. All right. So that's kind of like the first thing I had on the agenda was that to formulate an announcement, and we even went above and beyond that by doing some additional work about creating an event coming up in April. And again, I think if like it's a terrible day and it's not going to work and it's raining, we can just push back till May.
Okay.
So I wanted to go ahead and review some goals that are goals for 2021 and create some action steps. One of those, of course, being recruitment. But in terms of reviewing our goals, so this is something that our exec team has talked about, which is, during the full commission meetings, just being able to go through each of the committees and say like, hey, here's what our overall goals are for the year, and here's the progress that we've been able to make over the last month. So I thought it would be a smart idea to do that while we're in our committee meeting.
That makes sense.
And I will have to look back through our January meeting minutes.
Yeah, I think there were a few more goals in the minutes. No?
Absolutely. Accessibility. Goals for 2021. Recruit 2 to 3 new members with people who live with different disabilities. So recruitment is 1. Work with the city to request regular sidewalk grinding maintenance. Number 3 is restart the walk and roll events and using the See Click Fix app, which is we're calling City Source app again. And then the 4th one is to work with the city to to make sure all the curb cuts become level. So those are some actionable items that we decided on. The other thing that I don't see on the list, oh, here we go. And to work with readily achievable
Barrier removal.
Yes, that's it. Those are the 5 things I see.
So say how you said it again. So recruitment of 2 to 3 members.
Yes. Then the next one is request regular sidewalk maintenance.
Okay.
And then the next one is restart walk and roll. And that includes using the app, which we've talked about, and then work with the city to basically fix curb cuts. That's one of our like really tangible goals. And then the fifth one is to
The readily achievable barrier removal.
letters. So what I
We want to try to work with some more businesses.
I was going to ask, actually, Calliope's applying for a grant, and one of the areas they are looking at is accessibility. And I wondered if this group ever would consider doing a review for a nonprofit.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I think what we want to stay away from my perspective, is doing like those really intense, like 64, 120 page reports.
Right.
I think that's someone should get paid to do that. That is not, I can't.
Yeah. I don't think that that's what this group needs.
Okay. Yeah, I
Right.
think that would be good. What were you saying now?
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to like offer to just a quick consultation, but to then give them a list of providers for people who are able to do more intensive work.
Right.
So out of the things that are on our list, so working with local businesses and other organizations, I think I see that as readily achievable barriers. And the idea would be to get a letter written, like we talked about with David Riggs last month, so that we're able to have this like this basic form letter that says, you know, hi, here's who we are. We're working with City Code, or hey, we're City Code. We're working with the Athens Accessibility Committee to improve accessibility. Here are a couple things that are required under the ADA for you to do. Here's some ways that you can do this. Thank you very much. It's signed off by both of us.
You sort of we started one of those in last year. Do you want me to pull it up and try to get it in a place where we can review it as a committee?
Sure.
Okay.
That would be great.
All right.
And I think like the main things are, you know, parking. The second one would be entrance. The third one would be pathways once you're inside. The fourth one would be
Restrooms.
Thank you.
Yep. And that's just the figure. And then, I think that would be a good start.
And then there's like, you know, a slew of other things that we could eventually talk about, but.
Yeah, then another accessibility level. One of the things I've been wondering about is more and more places are talking about assistive technology and about accessibility with technology, online stuff, since so much stuff is online. And I didn't know, I mean, it's not my expertise. I know a little, but enough to be dangerous. But I wondered if that's another area of accessibility at some point we should be looking at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the app we were talking about that the city is providing for reporting things is improved. But again, I don't really know exactly what to look for when you're trying to review something, and how accessible it is. And there's other people that are better at that. I recall there was one of the students at OU that seemed to have a better understanding, and that's partly because she had some requirements and had difficulty, and so she knew the sort of obstacles for herself maybe. But I've never seen anything in writing really trying to document what things to look for and how to address them or anything.
Well, there is a whole organization that has a website called they set up guidelines called WCAG 2.0 Web Content Accessibility Guideline. So there is a ton already in place on what accessibility is, but distilling it down to sort of these 10 things would really make a website more accessible isn't necessarily done yet.
And like the things that I know that are important for accessibility are for someone who uses a screen reader who has a visual disability, that like reads off what's on the screen. So that's one layer of accessibility. Right. And the other one is for people who use oh gosh, what was it? No, it's like the kind of thing that you use, Noah. The point assistive technology communicate. What, I forget what it's called right now. And then is there? So those are the things that I like know of.
I know there's a whole lot on how to design web pages for people with different kinds of visual impairments, or like adding in for social media, adding in subtitles or captions, and adding in alt text for images, and so there's a whole bunch on sort of structure. So using headers and levels of information, and that's for the screen readers. And then visually, like choosing colors and size of font and what font and all of that, not having too much motion in a website.
That with ads is a huge problem, but
right. So there's a lot to it, and it would be actually interesting for the commission to think about maybe having another, I don't know whether it's a technology committee or having part of this group take on technology too. But I do think it's sort of more and more becoming in the forefront, especially as everyone is moving online now, or we've been online for a year. So how are we as a society making sure that our web life is something that everyone has access to?
Mm-hmm.
That's a great point. That's a very, very good point.
Keyboard navigation.
Navigation. So what is your, it's
Keyboard
just called
navigation.
Keyboard navigation. Okay. So yeah,
keyboard navigation. Is that what you said, Noah? Keyboard navigation?
Yeah. So
like I'm sure JW is an expert on this. Noah's an expert on this. Yeah.
Right. I could see, and I think that kind of highlights our need to add some more people with some more knowledge about. I think having Noah, who's an expert in that area, but having some people who have some other content experts would be really, really helpful. And I think maybe reaching out to some members of our commission who maybe might know some other people who may be interested in joining us. Great. So
even as a goal for us, we should decide if we think it falls within the accessibility committee. We've mostly been doing physical accessibility, or does it need its own entity kind of?
I mean, I could see either way. I think it would just depend if we have the leadership of people who are wanting to take it on. We could, it might be a subcommittee of this committee.
Right.
Because we already have our committee structure and our bylaws, so we could add like an official committee without changing those bylaws. Not that that's super hard to do, but
Right. Yeah, we could do a subcommittee of this committee.
yeah. And Diane, did you say that you're able to take a look at the letter that we had started? I think I just like did a basic letter and sent it out through email like a year ago.
Yeah, I think he started a letter and we worked on it, but I'll find it, and then do you want me to send it to everyone before the next meeting, and we can look at it as see if there's anything to change in it?
Yeah, and I think we could even, if you and I, Diane, and maybe Noah or whoever else wanted to take a stab at adding in that middle language, I think that might be beneficial.
Adding the middle language.
Like the 4 different possible parts, like the entrance.
Oh yeah, I can do that. I think that's already in there.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think I added those in last time.
Okay. Well, you're way ahead of.
But I'll take a look at it. I think it's pretty far along, but we didn't hear back. Yeah. So anyway, I think we're almost there. That's why I think we can do that.
And then we'll meet and talk about that. Then we'll invite David Briggs from Code Enforcement back in May or June then to.
Yeah, in fact, we said that when he came, when we wanted him back, and that we would have a letter for him then.
Great. Okay. So we are well on our way to do it.
Yep.
Okay. Well, let me look back at the agenda here. And I think we're, again, making pretty good progress on our action plans and our goals for 2021. The next item on the agenda is to review meetings with City Code Office and the Engineer's Office to find next steps, which we already have moved into basically, which is the readily achievable barriers letter, curb cuts, and Stimson project follow-up. So the Stimson project I see is ongoing right now. I see that they've got some sidewalk chopped up.
Yep, near the post office.
Yeah, they're already actively working. They've been burying utilities or burying new utility lines. And that's one of the big things that's going to happen with this project is you're getting all those telephone poles out of the way. So instead of being in the middle of the sidewalk, they're going to be gone. That's really, really helpful. That was a big barrier. Not just sidewalks were in bad shape and they were narrow, but then there was a telephone pole right in the middle. You know, I'm sure.
There are a lot of impediments on Stimson.
Yeah, so that project's already underway. I don't know if there's anything really to review at this point. They've got their plans and they're moving ahead. We did weigh in a couple times, which was good.
Yeah.
The next project, though, we could take a look at more closely, which is West Union. So it's going to be a roundabout installed at Schaefer. And then they're rebuilding the road, re-streetscaping, I guess you could say, all the way out to the bridge.
Okay.
So it's about a mile or more, somewhere around a mile of road. They are installing the current plan, which came out in September, I think it was, released in September. It includes an improved crosswalk with signage at the bikeway with something that we've been suggesting to Jessica, which is a textured crosswalk.
Great.
So that stamped concrete textured crosswalk that's painted a different color. So it's, it's a contrast and it gets people's attention when they're driving that there's something going on here. I need to pay attention. And then there's going to be big signs over the street too. It doesn't look like they're going to have the flashing lights like they have now, though. At least they're not on the plan.
Okay.
So that may be something to consider, but we could look at the plans more closely. Might make sense to talk to Jessica if we're going to set up another time to chat with her and talk about that project. See if we can look at some plans with her and pick her brain a little bit. But it also is going to include a sidewalk down, I think the entire which side? North side of the street, the fairground side of the street. And then on the south side, it's going to be a shared use path, 10 feet wide, the whole way, apparently. So that's huge improvements there.
Well, yeah, that sounds great. And I see that Schaefer, as it crosses Union, is it's kind of close to where the new College of Medicine is. Where
Right.
you go up, it's where the Weston Cider House is. But so from there, yeah, and again, those are some pretty poorly designed sidewalks with a lot of issues. So that'll be some.
So they'll be improving some of that connectivity, but the project doesn't extend very far off the roundabout. So going north up Schaefer, I don't know what they're doing. It's probably, they've drawn in a new sidewalk on the east side of Schaefer from the roundabout. But I don't know if they intend to like build one the whole way up to the next street or not. Because right now it's up on the hill, sidewalks up on the hill, and it's really terrible shape. There's no way to navigate that with a wheeled device, really.
And I think Jessica talked at the last meeting that Schaefer would somehow be redone at some point. And that would be really helpful because there's like, sidewalks that just end or some stairs that don't necessarily need to be there.
Yeah, the West End in particular is like that, and it needs improving. And the mayor is focused on that. He realizes it's important. They were going after some grant money to work on something there. I think it was going to be Washington Street. They were focused on, I think, and then the connectivity with the cider house and stuff. But I don't remember exactly details on that. But
I think it has a couple of more crosswalks are in the plans also.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's another issue is if you're like shopping at the Siemens grocery store, then there's not like a good way to cross the street right now.
yeah, I don't know how much they're addressing it. It would be good to look at that question, actually. And the thing is, we can look at the plans. I was looking at them a little this morning to refresh my memory. And it's hard to pick out that kind of detail, right? You have to know what you're looking for, and you have to know which page to get on to look for it. And there's hundreds of pages. Being able to ask Jessica would be helpful.
Yeah.
And have the plans available so she can then show us, oh, that's over here, and show us. And if there are any other crosswalks, I'm not sure. There might be, but I'm not sure. I haven't noticed any others just browsing the plan.
So in terms of inviting people to upcoming meetings, it sounds like we'll kind of have our hands full in.
I did look at them before.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, in terms of like our next couple meetings in March, I think we'll have our hands full just kind of finishing up this letter. In April, we're going to do the walk and roll. And then in May, then we're open up to either meet with David or meet with Jessica. I would say it might be more, we may want to meet with David first.
If we have a letter ready for him, I think is the key, right?
Okay. And I can go ahead and just, get that on his schedule now. And then Jessica in June.
Sure.
Okay. I can send
The
out.
West Union project won't start until next year at the earliest. It might be 2 years. So it's a little ways out still, but it would be good to take a look and weigh in a little bit. And maybe they've done a great job and we don't have any real comments on it. It's possible.
Yeah.
But what I saw, it looked pretty good.
Okay.
I would like to have seen maybe a better crossing for the bikeway that would really slow cars down, like Bob Hetty put in those flexiposts that really helped a lot with slowing people down. And if nothing else, they were paying more attention because there's some barriers on the road, right? But they're gone now. And if they don't narrow the roadway more at the bikeway or have some other physical thing that would slow people down, then they're just going to be flying through there like they used to. Even if there's a sign overhead that says there's a crossing, it doesn't, it's really not going to make a difference.
It would be really nice just to have a button to push that starts, and that's the only time that there's a red light, and you just put a red light in there.
And I agree. I think that situation is maybe the only place in the city where we could use something like that. But the problem is, according to the standards from the National Highway Safety Association and the state ODOT, it's not warranted for that location.
Okay.
So in other words, there's not enough traffic, there's not enough lanes. And it's not, well, the speed limit might be high enough, but there needs to be 4 lanes and there needs to be more higher levels of traffic for it to be justified. And so the city could go out on a limb and install something like that, but they would have to find their own funding. The state wouldn't fund it. And then the state may actively, is that a state route? It might be. The state may say, no way, it's a state route.
Yeah.
So that's the problem. I do think it would be the right solution for that location.
Okay.
As that whole like HCOM campus kind of gets developed, it might become more needed in time too. Because there's going to be more people there and they're going to be walking and they're going to, all of that. It'll be.
And I think having the roundabouts is great, but it's not the same as having designated walk times.
Right.
Okay, and I know Noah has to get off of here at 1:00, and I think we're at the end of things that are on our agenda. I think we have our action steps for the next, for our upcoming projects. We'll have our next meeting on March 11th, and one thing that I can do, if it's not already on my task list, Diane, to just get in touch with some possible partners to for our walk and roll to start figuring that out. Touch base with Scott and Ryan with the city, and figure out how to do some of the stuff.
Okay.
Work with Rob on it. Any other announcements before we close out the meeting today?
Maybe one quick update. So there was discussion previously about the Bailey's Trail and accessing across the bridge that was installed. And the bridge is better, it sounds like, since they graveled up to the edge a little more. But the path itself has also been improved a little bit. There were a couple of erosion problems that have been fixed. The new culvert's been put in, so that's wider. It was too narrow before. But the trail is still a little rough if you're navigating with a mobility device, or even a scooter would have trouble probably. Bicycle wheels are big enough to get over, the little ruts or things that are here and there with the erosion. But so there's the intent to try and improve it again, but it's beyond really volunteers moving all the stone that's needed. So it's probably going to be a contract job, part of the rebuild of the park this spring, summer timeframe. So we might see it improved sometime in the near future, but it's better, but it's still not really ideal. So.
Okay. Yeah, I think it would be good to maybe get one of our meetings maybe midsummer or late summer then, and meet with some of the volunteers, maybe with Jesse
Powers. She's the director. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we could all kind of get together and maybe figure out some ways to provide some consultation and also just some publicity about what's happening.
Okay, sounds good.
Cool. All right. Well, if no other announcements, we can go ahead and close out. Diane?
That sounds good. Thank you.
All right.